Very excited. We have Morgan B. Herron back in the hot seat, the young phenom artist responsible for Frankie Boy Monster and other great pieces of art all over the place. We're going to talk about his exciting new Kickstarter coming up very soon for Frankie B. Monster. It'll probably be running during the time you watch this interview, so I will definitely link it up in the description of the video. And make sure you go support my man because he's one of the most talented artists I know. Welcome again, Morgan. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thank you for all the kind words as usual, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Of course, I love art. I love comics, and you have to extend that by supporting art and artists and comic book artists, especially. So you are, is Frankie Boy Monster number 3 out yet, or?
Yes, it has been out. So right now, behind the scenes with Cosmic Line, we are now getting distribution through Diamond. Issue one was in previews for it was in previews for August, I believe, which meant it was out in October. And right now, issue two, the purple cover with Frankie fighting a werewolf, and the orange title font, that one is currently in previews and should be out in February. Uh, issue three, TBD on when that's going to be out through Diamond. But if you want to get ahead of all of that, you can always order your copy of issues 1 through 3 on the Cosmic Line website.
So for people who may not know, tell us a little bit about Frankie B. Monster. This is obviously one of your pet projects. Is it a mini series? Tell us like the concept, the plan, stuff like that.
Yeah, so Frankie Boy Monster is an ongoing all ages monster comic about a 12-year-old boy monster named Frankie who goes on misadventures with his mad scientist dad, Dr. Fritz Lang, as well as his vampire friend Drake. Yeah, it's basically about the ups and downs of growing up as a boy monster with a single mad scientist parent, which stems from my own real life experience of being raised by my mom as a single parent.
So 3 issues in, and you have a Kickstarter gearing up for the 4th issue, and that's primarily what we're here to talk about today. It launches on January 7th, a very important day, not only because it's the day before my birthday, but it's just January is an awesome month. But so it'll be for issue 4, and you said this is a special issue because you have basically a guest artist for most of the issue.
Yes. So the guest artist's name is Jorge Pena. He's a cartoonist based in Colombia. He's an excellent, I would say, surrealistic, horror-esque cartoonist. He actually had a pinup published in issue 1, and we stayed connected since then. And we'd always been talking about doing a vampire story with my vampire character named Drake, who kind of just appears, and it's established that he and like Frankie are friends and stuff like that, but like his origins weren't established, and that was rolling through my head along with other details during my freshman year of college. And now, finally, we have brought his origin to life in a kind of a more horror-esque manner. This story, yes, it gives you a lot of answers in his origin, but also there's a lot of surrealistic elements, and there's a lot of we'll say questions that can be filled in by the reader's imaginations, and I can also tie up some loose ends later on with the main villain of this issue for sure. So it was a fun experiment, and working on a full length collaboration was a lot of fun, and it definitely. I learned a lot from it. I definitely learned how to write a script for someone else, which was very difficult because the way I write for myself is way different than writing for someone else. I usually just kind of go by not super sparse notes, but pretty sparse notes, and I then thumbnail everything for myself, and I'll adjust and edit and remove panels or add panels as needed. But for this, I, typed out a full script. I tried to be as clear as possible, indicating what I wanted, but also allowing Jorge to be as expressive as possible. And I really love the results for the pages. So Yeah.
It's funny because I was going to say, as an artist, I feel like you have an edge when it comes to writing for other artists, because I've written for other artists, and um, implementing thumbnails and layouts is like such a great way to go. Because I think that one of the things that like writers who don't know how to draw sometimes do, especially a novice writer or a new writer, is they will. I've gotten so many scripts where they ask for the impossible. You know what I mean? Like three actions in one panel from the same character or something ridiculous like that. So if you're laying it out yourself, you're showing the artist one way that it's possible.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. My professor, Professor Doug Dabbs, who did a comic with Image, with writer Doug Wagner, Click Click Boom. He said that one of his biggest criticisms for like comics writers is that like if there's like a scene of like a car driving forward and they make that one panel, it's like, okay, well, how do you draw the car moving like in one panel? It's almost kind of impossible. So you kind of have to adjust some things, and you have to sometimes go out of your way to talk to writers because I mean, all creative people have a level of ego. I don't think that's a big secret. Everyone wants something out of the collaboration, and I think you have to let some of it go. But then, but if it's like your IP, you want to keep it as pure as possible, but you also don't want to hold your collaborator at gunpoint because I think that if, there's a feeling of that, it'll come through in the comic, which I think it wasn't necessarily a struggle for me and Jorge. I was pretty hands off when it came to him, like kind of making the pages, but I do think there was some things that I could do better as a collaborator next time I collaborate with someone. So,
well, if you don't learn anything from it, then was it really worth it? So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's fun learning and, working with different people, and every artist and person you will collaborate in your future has different skill set and wants and needs and working relationship. And so here's to many more collaborations. Now, would you consider Frankie Boy Monster like your Hellboy in 30 years from now? Will you be talking about Frankie Boy Monster, and that'll be your, like, we'll have like the second incarnation of a movie franchise by then or something?
absolutely, absolutely. In terms of like he is my character. Like he's like an extension of me. He's this vehicle that I get to express certain things, both fun, good, and bad. He's my excuse to draw fun monsters and also to get some, I guess, childhood trauma out of my system. Like every great artist does. So um,
Exercising your demons.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's healthy. I think that's healthy on some level. Sometimes you do need to get some things out of your system. And I mean, I also have friends that I do talk to people about my problems, and they help keep me balanced. But I think you also need a way of expressing certain things and putting it out into the world, and then making it into a more practical manifestation, like a comic book. That's all we can buy. So.
No, and it is described as all ages. So, I mean, it is a horror comic book, so there's a little bit of gore in it, and but I feel like it's kind of like the old like Looney Tunes or whatever. It's like you're a kid, so you just like take it with a grain of salt. But do you have you heard from any like parents or about kids reading your book? Has it caught on with kids to your knowledge, or?
There's kind of that's still something I'm still trying to feel out because it's only to kind of just talk about my cartooning career. My cartooning career, it's only been a year, so like I've finally had a full year of publishing as of yeah, it's only been like 1 year so far, so I'm still feeling that out. I still notice that it is a bunch of adults buying my comics, but then a lot of adults have messaged me or have let me know in person, like, hey, yeah, I'm letting my kid read your comic. They absolutely love it. So there have been kids that have read Frankie, and I've heard that they've enjoyed it. I've not heard like specific criticisms from kids of like, oh, I don't like, the way this character's drawn, or oh, I wish you would do more of this, this, and this. It's just there's just a general like, oh yeah, my kid loves your comic. They think it's so fun and expressive, like keep going and stuff. And then there are adults that are like, yeah, this speaks to me as an adult so far. and then they let me know things I could tighten up because they can actually verbalize criticism and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think that this is your first year in publishing because I mean, you're young. What are you, 19,
Yeah, I'm now
20?
20. I'm now
You're
20.
now 20.
As of
Okay.
November, I am now 20 for sure.
Okay. And your first comic book, not only do you have a publisher for it, but it's also in diamond distribution. I mean, some people never get that in their entire career. So that you're off to a great start. Aside from, I mean, and you're still in college, so but you're obviously going to college for art, and this is what you want to do. Comics is your life, basically.
Uh, there's there's always like fine tuning like details. Like one day I'm feeling myself and I'm like, oh yeah, I could do comics full time for sure. But then I know the exact numbers of sales and I'm like, ooh, maybe I do need to get a proper day job and comics is gonna have to be a night thing until it picks up. So it kind of keeps fluctuating in all honesty. Like I just for full transparency, I think I'll be switching my major back to art education. I think I'll be teaching full time and publishing part time. So, but I do
Yeah,
love comics and I do want it to be a part of my life. And it's, like I said, it's a mode of self expression for me. And I love putting my own character out there. It's just, I need a roof over my head, obviously, to produce the work at any level. So,
yeah, true. I know. Sadly, unless you're like somebody like Jim Lee or something like that, it is a rough road, and you're always looking for more work, and but I mean, of course, if you sold the rights to Frankie and
yeah.
set yourself up good, I mean, that's the dream right there. You know what I mean? And that and Batman, of course. I know you must want to draw Batman. Everybody wants to draw Batman.
I still do. I still like. I was definitely a Batman kid. In fact, like I don't know. A lot of the commissions I get for like convention stuff, it's not been a lot of DC stuff. It's been a lot of like Marvel characters, and though there has been Swamp Thing. I've gotten a bunch of like I got like two Swamp Thing commissions like during Heroes Con. But a lot of people are commissioning me for Marvel stuff, and I preferred DC when I was younger over Marvel. In a lot of ways, I still do. Like especially like the more obscure characters like Etrigan the Demon and Deadman. I think those two are like super fun. And then like you get like fun projects like Mike Mignola's Gotham by Gaslight. Like a dream DC project of mine would be to like do a one shot follow up of Gotham by Gaslight, which I know they're already doing a follow up of Gotham by Gaslight. That's more of a series, but I would love to like to have that version of Batman teaming up with Etrigan to fight Gentleman Ghost. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But
Wow, that sounds like a great idea. And hey, Marie Javins, anyone from DC, are you listening? Oh, is it Kubert, Katie Kubert? She's the Bat editor now, so
oh,
she's
okay.
the one. She's the one who needs to hear that.
Gotcha.
But
I'm kind of out on the mainstream in terms of like who's like running what. So
well, it pays to know
yeah,
your industry, the ins and outs.
for sure.
What was I going to say to you? So do you have, oh yeah, I was commissions. Um, what's like the most fun, obscure one you've been asked for that was totally unexpected and you like were so excited to do it?
I really enjoyed drawing a Galactus pre-show commission of like
Hmm.
Galactus fighting the Silver Surfer. I actually added the fighting the Silver Surfer part, like the collector who I'm still actually close with he and his son and I don't know if I can name drop him, just, but yeah, that Galactus commission was a lot of fun. It was basically what I did was I took the composition from one of the Galactus trilogy covers where he's blasting the Fantastic Four, but I put the Silver Surfer in there, and then I drew it all in my style, and then digitally colored it and posted it. And yeah, the collector was very, very happy with this commission, which was a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So aside from Frankie and commissions, and do you have any other like projects on the back burner or anything you kind of want to do or you might be working on? I know you're like probably way too busy to even consider anything outside of Frankie in college, but
Yeah.
stuff always creeps in. Like the pinup you did for my forthcoming Elementals book,
Yeah.
so you have that coming out. So that's smart. Like you're an artist who like puts yourself out there and like has pinups in other people's books.
Mhm.
I think that's such a great way to, you know, get your work out there. Do you have any other pinups that I don't know about?
Yeah, let me kind of go through the list of my mind. So the first published pinup I got outside of like when my book got published was in, let's see, now I'm having to go through my own timeline. I know there was Fourth Dimensional by Siraji. That's how he and I got connected. Like Raymar Brunson, the cartoonist and the writer artist behind Ghost Man, which will also be solicited through Diamond soon. He was like Morgan, like we were over like a Discord call, which we'll do from time to time. He was like, "You got to get connected with Siraji, like in some way," and so I did. I quickly turned around a pinup of his character Mon and the other character Ava, and that was published around my birthday actually, which my birthday last year, which was when Frankie issue one was actually if you ordered in Tennessee. That on that same day, a lot of people got their copies of Frankie issue one on that same day, which was really cool. There's also been Ghost Man by Raymar Brunson. I have a pinup in the first issue. Um, then there's also Demon Town by Sean Prairie, issue two. Um, it's a really fun monster book as well. Um, and then there's a lot of pinups I've done so far. Some have been published and some haven't. Um, I did one for Tony McMillan's Destroying Angel Lumen. Whenever he starts publishing the issues, it should be popping up in one of those issues, or maybe the trade. I don't know. I'm not privy to those details yet. Then there's the Elementals book that you and I have been working on the past year, and man, I'm trying to think of what else I've done. Um, right, Cosmic Cat by Rick Lopez. That was in the second mini comic collection that he did, which was awesome. I was very honored. He and I had become friends over the convention circuit as well. Um, yeah, and there's a bunch that just have not been published yet, like Space Knights Book Two. That I have a pinup that's going to be published in that whenever Kevin is done with that book, and a couple of others as well. So.
Speaking of Siraji, the cartoonist for Fourth Dimensional, we should say congratulations to him. I saw it not too long ago. He announced his first gig doing interiors for DC Comics.
Yeah, really great. I'm really happy for him. I was actually I was supposed to be doing homework, but I messaged him when he posted that, and I said, "Dude, like congratulations! And if you want to be professional and you don't want to tell me what it is, you don't have to." And he was kind enough to accidentally let his finger slip, and he sent me a sneak peek of what he's working on. So I
That
won't.
is very cool.
Yeah,
I know, of course, you can't
I can't
mention,
talk
but
over it.
it
There,
is.
but
I kind of have a suspicion of what it might be, and if it is, I'm hoping it is what I think it is. But
I'll
I'm
let you know
happy.
off camera. I'll let you know off camera.
Okay, but I'm happy to find out too.
Right.
Anyway, so let's talk. Okay, so this Kickstarter is going to launch on January 7th. It's
Mhm.
for the fourth issue. You said there's a pinup, or am I allowed to say who there's a pinup from in there?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a bunch of pinups, but the big one that's going to be published in this issue is Jim Mafu. We got Jim Mafu to do a pinup for Frankie Boy Monster issue 4, and we have poster tiers for this Kickstarter. And the pinup is also going to be a poster that you can score on the Kickstarter. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Um, I'm curious though, like how will this affect its like position in Diamond? Like, will it still be distributed in Diamond afterwards, or?
Yeah, it will, because Eli's still trying to figure out the details of distribution through Diamond, but it's gonna be a while till, even like I said, issue two is gonna be in shops that have ordered it by February. So this is just to get the book printed and to get Jorge paid, and yeah, and some other things that were kind of yeah, but basically those two things. That's the reason why we're running Kickstarters, to, like I said, just get the book printed, and to pay Jorge, as well as to get more eyes on my IP. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I like it. I mean, it's like kind of nerve-wracking doing Kickstarter, and I did one for Elementals, and I was happy that it was successful. And I'm like, I feel like I don't know. It's like I feel like I've had to like rewire my brain into this, like, because I do like at first I was very against it. I was like, what, but that was years ago, and of course now I've warmed up to it, having participated in a couple of them, and I do think it's a great idea because it's comics is such a niche market, as we talked about. It's like,
Yeah.
you're 20, 19 years old, you're 20 years old, it's like, do you want to be the starving artist for the rest of your life, or do you want to plan? And, so it is a good way to get the books made that, and people want them, you know what I mean? Either you
Mhm.
participate or you don't, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like you said, people do get excited about the campaigns, and it does help spread word and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, and we have the previous issues as add-ons. So if you've had like if you've been unsure of even like jumping on board with Frankie and you're like, oh, why do I want to start with issue 4? Like we have the previous 3 issues as add-ons, and then we have the full thing as a bundle of all 4 issues as a separate bundle. We also have a tier with a sticker of Frankenstein's monster wearing a Frankie Boy Monster T-shirt saying, Frankie good, bye Frankie Boy Monster, and that's a fun one. We also have commission tiers, so you can also commission me, and I will draw whatever character you would like for me to in my style. And I plan on putting a lot of value into these commissions. I've resurfaced this old pen hatching style that I used to do in high school, mixed with my current style now. So if you commission me, you'll be getting a commission with a full range of black, white, and gray. So yeah.
now, one tier you brought up that I'd like to talk about just as a topic in general. Did you say that there would be some sort of thing where you can like put yourself in the actual comic book?
Yes. So the reason why that there's also kind of been a delay in me putting out 4, I could have definitely published issue 4 sooner, but I also wanted to work with Jorge to also buy me time to work on the issue after 4. So like issue 5, it's also like almost done. Like I just need to do one more short story, and that's where this part's going to come in. There's a tier where if you pledge $100, uh, I will draw a backer as a villager chasing after Frankie in Frankie Boy Monster issue 5 in a short story. So yeah.
I recommend that that you do it like all on one page and include everyone on the single page. I feel like too many projects have been killed by like trying to include like real people in the book. There's this book that George Perez did called Crimson Plague, and he had like real models in it, and it like killed. Well, but that was like for a full series. So, and also Big Numbers kind of comes to mind because Bill Sienkiewicz was using like real people for the whole thing, and like it
Yeah.
turned into a huge nightmare. Not that that is what this is coming to, but it just kind of reminded me of that, and I thought as a cautionary tale,
Yeah. Yeah.
be careful how much you promise.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, I'm gonna figure out the compositions of those pages, but whoever backs that tier, they will be a villager chasing after Frankie in a Frankie Boy Monster short story. So about like 6 to 10 pages, basically, and
Yeah.
either everyone will be in one crowd, but then I also like obviously I do cl close-up facial shots for certain like exclamations and stuff like that, just to add variety in between like full figures and stuff like that. So I mean, there'll also be like some close-ups of some of the backers, I'm sure as well. So yeah, and
Well,
I've already kind of practiced for sure.
so where are you right now?
I'm currently back home for the holidays in good old Cookeville, Tennessee.
Oh
My mom's
yeah.
upstairs.
What's the weather like?
All over the place. Like sometimes it's like really freezing, and other times it's like really, really. I don't. Well, let me rephrase that. Like the the weather in Tennessee is very like just kind of up and down. Like right now, I think it's like 59 outside, which it was like frigid like just a couple of days ago. So it's kind of all over the place. And it snowed in November, but it hasn't snowed at all in December. So it's just it's weird. It's really weird. But
Yeah. So how's the college experience going for you? Are you enjoying it? Are you learning a lot? Do you feel like it's you've improved as an artist yet?
I, I definitely see in a lot of ways where I've improved, but now that it's been a year, I can also see where I'm kind of deficient in. And critique days are hard, not because of the criticism. It's it's not really that I take criticism harshly. I think it's just like like I gotta get in and get it done. But now I'm at a point where like I don't take criticism personally in the art school setting, whatever you want to call it. Um, that's not been as difficult. In fact, it wasn't really that difficult in the beginning. I think the difficult part was like trying to also verbalize criticism to fellow peers. That part was kind of difficult because a lot of people thought I was very harsh in my critiques, which is kind of funny because I'm like, I feel like I'm being fair. But but it's I think that was the only thing to kind of hurdle. And like yeah, that's the only part that kind of was difficult navigating. Like, okay, how do I verbalize that? I don't think your piece of art sucks. It just this could make it better, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and without sounding like a complete and total jerk or anything like that. But then
Yeah,
also like but those same people are also like kind of afraid to give criticism back. And there's been a lot of like rumblings that like my generation's attitude toward like education has changed. A lot of older folks have said that my generation seeks more validation in the educational setting than say actually trying to improve craft and stuff like that. And I would say that's not a completely unfair statement, but it's not everyone in my generation for sure. There are definitely outliers, but you know.
I think taking criticism is like so important and like, but it is hard. You know what I mean? It's like art is so personal to us, and it's hard not to take it personally because you're the one who created it, and it doesn't mean it's not a personal attack on like your talent or whatever. Especially if you're in a learning situation, everyone's there theoretically to get better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so with my work, something that I struggle with, in all honesty, is like 1 point and 2 point perspective. Like, I don't even think it's a secret. Like, I just, I do struggle with that in my own work. I mostly use a lot of like atmospheric perspective, which is fine, but I'm trying to make more shots where I try to improve my 1 and 2 point perspectives. So,
Well, I'd like to share a story with you.
oh,
Speaking of George Perez, who I brought up earlier, it, back in the day in Marvel and DC, a lot of artists were hired based on their potential, and they were allowed to sort of grow and develop over the course of, and what a great learning boot camp, drawing monthly comics. So George Perez was told by his editor that he couldn't draw perspective and he couldn't do this and he couldn't do that. So he did this 1 page like splash page of White Tiger, and it's the character like crawling over the logo, and it's a bunch of buildings in a like down shot, and it's all perspective, and it's an amazing. And that is how you handle criticism. You know what I mean? You don't cower, you prove them wrong. As a person
yeah.
who I'm off to this day, I'm always underestimated or just like misunderstood and constantly proving people wrong. Like it never, gets easier, but you deal with it.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, like, Frank Miller did the exact same thing. Like Neil Adams, like completely like grilled into him. Like, when Frank was first starting out, he went to Continuity Studios and like he brought his pages over and in other pieces of art, and like Neil Adams would take tracing paper and just completely redraw over him and tell him, "Hey, get out of here, go pump gas." And Frank just yeah, he literally told him to go pump gas. Like you have no future in this industry at all, and yet he's probably one of the few cartoonists. You know, uh, is he a millionaire? I think Frank's like pretty
If
wealthy at
he
this
I
point.
mean, he deserves to be. His contributions to Dark, he would have to be, because Dark Knight Returns will like never go out of print. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
he's
he's
living fairly comfortably at the very least. Definitely better than Larry Hama at the moment. But But
Yeah, I mean, I know it's sad that, like you go to a Marvel movie and see your name being thanked for your contribution to this multi-million-dollar movie, and you're like living in squalor, having to do a GoFundMe to pay your rent or something like that. So it is, yes, get your education, Morgan.
yeah, but all this to say, like Frank stuck to his guns. He took the criticism and he did his best to get better, and then he developed his style and created a bunch of great works, great mainstream works like his Daredevil run, and then great more independent works like Sin City and 300, which 300's probably my favorite of his independent works. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, I know it's obvious the affection you have for Frank Miller, and you're smart because he's like, I love him. It's like I even love the new stuff that people are bitching about. I think it's amazing. I think it's a fully expected extension of his career path, and plus, I don't know, he's been through a lot, so
Yeah,
cut him
I
some
have
break.
yeah, I have conflicting feelings and opinions about his current stuff, but like I said, he's probably doing pretty well. So like my opinion about him doesn't matter. Like whatever, you know. But
Yeah, I mean, his work will be studied throughout the end of time, as long as comic book history is studied. So
for sure.
he's good. What other artists speak to you, inspire you, have influenced you?
Well, definitely Mike Mignola. That's definitely no secret. I think his atmospheric perspective work is amazing. I also love his staging with Shadow and his sense of composition. And he's also a wonderful like graphic designer of pages, and that's something that I'm striving to be. I'm trying to make a one strong page out of these multiple panels, and I think he's a wonderful designer of pages. I I guess more like contemporary peers of mine. I really enjoy the work of Siraji, as you know. He has wonderful graphic cartooning, but also he's wonderful at anatomy, perspective, and all of those foundations in art and comic book storytelling. And also, like his stuff is just so pleasurable to read. Like I don't really want to read comics that have really not great or not fun stories, and like
Hmm.
his stories are so fun, but they're also full of heart. But you also get the sense that he's building to something, and I cannot wait to see what he builds up to. Like he's working on that DC project and volume 2 of Fourth Dimensional simultaneously, and I'm excited for like his big mainstream debut, but like I'm more excited for Fourth Dimensional because I know like how much pleasure I'm going to get out of reading that next like full volume and stuff like that. Same with like Tony McMillan. Attaboy really spoke to me. I mean, I don't think it's a secret that like that book is about his parents' divorce, and it spoke to me because my parents separated when I was very very young, and my mom raised me by herself. And again, it was very pleasurable to read. Yeah, I think the more I look at comics and try to study comics, like it to me, it doesn't really matter if like the art is perfect or like every single panel is like perfectly rendered. Like comics need to be readable and they need to be pleasurable to consume. They don't need to be perfect, and that's what I get out of like a bunch of great creators' works, like the Frank Millers of the world, and stuff like that. So I also love I let's see who else. Um, Sean Perry. He, like I said, he does a book called Demon Town. Let's see who else. Also, I do like Raymar Brunson's work, the guy who does Ghostman. He's been killing it lately. He shows me some stuff behind the scenes, and his pages look really good. Kevin Anthony Catalan, who does Space Knights and did Godzilla Rivals. That Godzilla Rivals book was amazing. And yeah. I don't want to say that's it, but also it's been cool like talking to other indie cartoonists and creators. Sam J. Royale is also really great. I really enjoyed Pariah. I um
Hmm.
I actually meant to buy like the full volume of Pariah from him at IC3, but like he was talking to Jamie Jones and Jamie was like, "Here, man, like just have my copy." And I'm like, "Are you sure, dude?" And he was like, "No, it's totally cool." So yeah. And also like Rick Lopez is great. Um, Cosmic Cat's really, really fun and enjoyable. And yeah, it's it's been great getting to read all these creations that you can tell like there a lot of thought and care went into these things, you know.
Yes, we do know a lot of talented cartoonists, and a lot of them are at our parent company, Cosmic Lion Productions. The great Eli Schwab definitely knows how to find talent and fun books. Like the array of different books from Cosmic Lion is just like so much fun, and just like it's no surprise that he's one of the up and coming publishers, and I'm so glad that you're part of it. Do you have any convention plans so far for 2025 or not yet?
So far, it's looking. We're currently on the wait list for HeroesCon 2025, so that's as soon as like we're approved, I'm definitely going to that. Uh, there's also a comic arts festival in Cookeville, Tennessee, my hometown. It's pretty small, but it's a free table, so breaking even will not be hard at all. So I'll definitely be going to that. So far, just those two. I've been having to be very choosy with my cons as a as a college student.
Yeah.
Can't go broke going to cons and stuff like that. So yeah, those two are the only conventions that it's looking like I'll be doing in 2025. I tried to look into Nashville Comic Con, but like it's very much like a pop culture centric shows. Like I think last year Michael Rosenbaum from like Smallville and Justice League Unlimited went, which is great. You know I'm not bashing on that. Like if you want to go for that, that's awesome. But I gotta think like, okay, I need to find a pretty artist friendly convention. And those two conventions I just named are like very artist friendly and stuff like that. So yeah, I would have loved to have gone to IC3 year two, but it's just not, and it's just not. This year we just can't afford it. So yeah.
Well, you've had a great first year, and you're
Yeah.
shaping up to have a great second year. You're on an amazing trajectory. You have this Kickstarter coming up. Is there anything else you would like to talk about before we wrap up for today?
Uh, I think trying to think. I think that's I don't think so. Just that I hope y'all back this Kickstarter, and I hope y'all get to enjoy Frankie Boy Monster issue 4, and I hope that the backers that back the the villager oh yeah details on if you want to be a villager, if you do decide to back that fear and be a villager, just either just DM me reference photos like face shots, full body shots, like whatever, and I'll compile that into a file that I'll use for when I start drawing that short story. So, and you can DM me on either Instagram or Facebook. I'm Herron_art on Instagram, and Morgan B Herron on Facebook. So.
And don't be dropping in his DMs unless you pledge to the campaign, by the way. We don't need any stalkers over here. No, I'm just kidding. So it was nice catching up with you. Hang out for a minute after I sign off. But there will be a link to, I'm going to put this up when the campaign's live, because I hate when like you hear about a cool project and you can't like go to it right away. You know what I mean? So we definitely want to keep the heat going for Morgan's first Kickstarter. So this is very exciting. Morgan is an amazing artist. If you guys don't know already, if you know, you know, but there will be opportunities to catch up, and it's the perfect time. If you can't wait, go to CosmicLionProductions.com and pick up the first 3 issues of Frankie Boy Monster. And if not, wait for go pledge to the campaign and pick up the whole package, like right now, you guys. So thanks for being here, Morgan. Always a pleasure to talk to you. I say it often, and I will continue repeating it. You're one of the most amazing young, talented artists I know, and I'm so happy to know you. Keep on keeping on with all the great stuff you're doing. 2025 is going to be an amazing year for you, and I can't wait to have you back and talk about more successes and upcoming projects. So thanks for being here. And like I said, everyone, there will be links in the description to the Kickstarter, Morgan's, what do you call it, Instagram and socials and all that good stuff, so you can find him. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Hit like. Come back for more. And thanks again, Morgan. Okay.
For sure. Thanks for having me on, Michael. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.